You've spent years taking care of everything. Your job, your family, the bills, the endless messages waiting on your phone. But somewhere along the way, you forgot how to take care of yourself, not with vacations or comfort or another weekend escape, but in a way that makes you stronger. Tell me this. When was the last time you woke up and actually felt calm before the day began? Before the noise started pulling you in 100 directions? Most people never do. They wake up already behind, already exhausted, already anxious, like they're chasing a train that never stops. But here's the truth no one wants to say out loud. You don't need more comfort. You need strength. Not the kind that flexes, but the kind that breathes through chaos. And that's where Stoicism comes in. Not as an ancient idea buried in dusty books, but as a living code for people like you and me, trying to stay human in a world that never shuts up. 2,000 years ago, Marcus Aurelius faced wars, betrayal, and death. Yet every morning, he began with peace. How? Because he understood one thing we've forgotten. You can't control the world, but you can always control yourself. Imagine carrying the weight of an empire on your shoulders, wars outside your walls, betrayal inside your home, and still walking through the storm without losing yourself. That was Marcus Aurelius, and the secret that kept him calm in chaos could be the one thing missing from your life right now. He didn't chase comfort. He built discipline. He didn't escape reality. He learned how to face it. And what's fascinating is this: the habits that made emperors and philosophers unshakable 2,000 years ago are the exact habits modern science now proves can rebuild focus, reduce anxiety, and restore emotional strength. In this video, you will discover 8 Stoic self-care habits, not the kind sold in wellness ads, but real, daily disciplines that teach you how to love yourself without losing your edge. You'll learn how to guard your time like a fortress, how to stay calm when everything falls apart, and why the strongest people are often the quietest. And stay with me until the end, because the final habit, the one Marcus relied on when life felt unbearable, ties them all together. It's not just powerful, it's life-changing. Because once you learn it, no one, not chaos, not fear, not loss, will ever control you again. The world today rewards noise. Everyone's talking, posting, performing, desperate to look in control while quietly falling apart. We've mistaken distraction for peace, achievement for worth, and comfort for care. But here's the hard truth. What most people call self-care is often just self-escape. We scroll through motivational quotes, light a candle, and call it healing. Yet our minds remain restless. The Stoics would look at our generation and see one thing: people searching for peace in all the wrong places. Real self-care, they'd say, isn't luxury. It's discipline. It's the quiet decision to do what strengthens you, even when no one's watching. It's facing your emotions, your habits, your reality, and saying, I can do better. That's what Stoicism teaches. Not how to run from life, but how to stand still inside the storm. This isn't ancient philosophy meant for monks or scholars. It's practical wisdom for ordinary people trying to stay sane in a world that never stops moving. And that's what we'll explore today. 8 timeless Stoic habits, simple, powerful, and brutally honest, that will help you rebuild your strength from the inside out. Each of these habits was lived by real people who suffered more than most of us ever will. Emperors facing betrayal, slaves finding freedom inside their own minds, philosophers losing everything yet remaining calm. They didn't have therapy apps or vacation getaways. They had their thoughts and the courage to master them. That's where this video becomes more than just motivation. It's a roadmap. Because if you apply even one of these habits, you will begin to feel something rare in our time: control, not over others, not over circumstances, but over yourself. You'll Learn to start your mornings with reflection instead of anxiety. To protect your time, like it's sacred. To say no without guilt. To find calm in discomfort. To write with brutal honesty. To visualize loss without fear. To master emotion instead of serving it. And finally, to live according to virtue, the one foundation that makes every other habit possible. This is the kind of self-care that doesn't fade when the world gets hard. It's the kind that builds unshakable peace. Before we dive in, I want you to take a moment, just breathe, because what we're talking about here isn't theory. It's a way of living that requires honesty. And honesty can be uncomfortable. You might hear some of these habits and think, that's too hard. But remember, the Stoics didn't create easy lives. They created strong souls. Every principle they lived by was tested through pain, loss, and failure. That's why it still matters today, because it was forged in reality, not written for comfort. If you stay with me through this journey, I promise you'll start seeing yourself differently. You'll notice how often you give your peace away to your phone, to people's opinions, to things that don't deserve your energy. And slowly, you'll learn to reclaim it. By the end of this video, you won't just understand Stoic self-care, you'll feel it. In how you breathe, how you respond, how you carry yourself. Because loving yourself isn't about saying you're enough. It's about proving it through discipline, presence, and calm strength. So take a breath. We begin with habit 1, the morning battle most people lose before they even open their eyes. Every day begins with a battle, and most people lose it before they even open their eyes. The first sound they hear isn't silence. It's a notification. Their first thought isn't gratitude, it's anxiety. And before they've even taken their first breath, the world has already claimed their mind. The Stoics saw mornings differently. To them, dawn wasn't a routine, it was a ritual. Marcus Aurelius began his day not by checking what others needed, but by reminding himself who he wanted to be. He wrote, "When you rise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to love." That one thought set the tone for everything that followed. He didn't wait for the day to decide his peace. He chose it first. That's the essence of Stoic self-care. You win the day before the day begins. Imagine waking up tomorrow and before you reach for your phone, you reach for your mind. You sit in quiet for just 2 minutes and ask, what's in my control today? What kind of person will I be when things go wrong? Those questions build more strength than any cup of coffee ever could. Modern life trains us to react before we think. We wake up rushing, late for work, lost in messages, already behind. But reaction is the opposite of reflection. And when you start your day reacting, you give away your peace before you've even earned it. The Stoics believed mornings were sacred, a time to prepare the soul, not to surrender it. Marcus Aurelius faced armies, betrayal, and disease. Yet he carved out silence each morning. He wasn't escaping his responsibilities. He was sharpening himself to face them. Think of it this way. When you reflect, you build mental armor. You prepare for the noise before it arrives, and in that preparation, you gain control over the only battlefield that truly matters, your mind. It doesn't need to be long. Even 5 minutes of quiet reflection can change the entire rhythm of your day. Ask yourself, what's mine to control? What's not? How can I act with virtue no matter what happens? Those questions sound simple, but they create warriors of peace. Because when you start your day with intention, you stop letting the world decide how you feel. Reflection isn't about perfection, it's about presence. Some mornings, your mind will fight you. You'll feel the urge to rush, to grab the phone, to check the noise. That's when this habit matters most. Marcus Aurelius wrote his reflections not because he was calm, but because he wasn't. He faced fatigue, anger, and uncertainty, and through writing, he returned to himself. You can do the same, even without pen and paper. Sit up, breathe slowly, and whisper a question that centers you. What kind of human do I want to be today? This is the discipline of self-respect. To meet yourself before the world meets you. And if you do this every morning, even for a few minutes, you will start noticing something extraordinary. The day no longer owns you. The stress doesn't define you. The noise doesn't touch you, because you've already chosen who you are before stepping into the storm. That quiet, deliberate choice, that's where strength begins. That's Stoic self-care in its purest form. Modern science now confirms what the Stoics knew centuries ago. The first few minutes after you wake up shape the entire chemistry of your day. Your brain is most impressionable then, deciding what mood to build, what thoughts to repeat. If your first action is chaos, your mind builds a day of reaction. But if your first action is calm reflection, your mind builds resilience. Think about that. Before you've had breakfast, you're already programming your peace or your panic. Neuroscientists call it priming. Marcus Aurelius called it preparation for the soul. Both mean the same thing. You get to choose the energy you carry into the world. So here's a simple practice. When you wake up, don't touch your phone for 5 minutes. Sit up, breathe deeply, and ask, what matters most today? Who do I want to be when difficulty comes? You don't need to force answers. Just sit with the questions. Those 5 minutes are not wasted. They're invested. Because reflection is not idleness. It's strategy. And in a noisy world, silence is a weapon few people ever master. Most people treat mornings as something to survive. They wake up chasing the clock, drowning in alerts, already pulled into other people's lives before they've even met their own thoughts. But the Stoics saw mornings as sacred, a bridge between chaos and clarity. Epictetus once said, first say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do. That's the purpose of morning reflection. It's not about controlling time. It's about defining intention. Before the world rushes in, you decide who you will be when it does. Try this tomorrow. Sit in silence for just a moment and ask 3 questions. What is in my control today? What is outside my control? How can I act with virtue no matter what happens? If you can answer even one of those honestly, you've already won the morning. The point isn't to escape the noise. It's to build enough stillness to face it. Because life won't slow down. The emails, the traffic, the people, they'll keep coming. But reflection teaches you to respond, not react. It builds a calm that doesn't depend on the weather of the world. And slowly, something changes. You start carrying your morning peace into the rest of your day. You speak slower, breathe deeper, listen better. That's how reflection turns into mastery. It doesn't just change your mornings. It changes who you are. The Stoics weren't cold or detached, as people often imagine. They understood gratitude better than anyone. Each morning, they began not just with preparation for struggle, but with appreciation for life itself. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Every sunrise was a reminder. You've been given another chance to live, to learn, to serve, to grow. That realization humbles you. You stop asking, why is today so hard? And start saying, I still have today. Gratitude transforms reflection into strength. Because the moment you stop taking life for granted, everything becomes a gift, even discomfort, even challenge. When you start your day with gratitude, you stop chasing happiness. You build it. Tomorrow morning, when light first hits your room, whisper to yourself, I didn't earn this day, but I'll make it count. Then rise slowly, with dignity, not haste. The phone can wait. The world can wait. This moment is yours. The discipline of morning reflection isn't glamorous. It's quiet, simple, and hard. But that's why it works. Do it consistently. And one day you'll realize you no longer wake up into chaos. You wake up into peace. And if you slip, you rush, you scroll, you forget. Don't punish yourself. Begin again. The Stoics returned to the practice every time they fell. Because progress is repetition, not perfection. Write one line. Breathe for 10 counts. Ask one honest question. Small, steady acts become character. And character is what meets the world when everything else falls apart. One of the greatest illusions of our time is that you can do it all. Please everyone. Chase every opportunity. Keep every plate spinning and still have peace left for yourself. You can't, and deep down, you already know that. Most people wake up tired and go to bed drained. Not because they've lived too much, but because they've said yes to. Often, yes to extra work they don't believe in. Yes to obligations that don't align with who they are. Yes to noise disguised as connection. Seneca warned us about this 2,000 years ago. He said, "It's not that we have a short life, but that we waste much of it." He watched people guard their money like treasure, while giving away their time like it was worthless. The Stoics saw time as sacred. To waste it was a moral failure, not an accident, because every moment you hand to something meaningless, you take from something that could have made you stronger, wiser, or freer. To love yourself, you must learn to protect your time, not with walls, but with wisdom. And that begins with the hardest discipline of all, the art of saying no. Every yes carries a hidden cost. It's a debt you pay with your attention, your energy, your sanity, and no one ever repays it for you. When you realize this, something inside you changes. You stop saying yes automatically. You start asking, is this worth a piece of my life? That question alone can save years of regret. Saying no doesn't mean selfishness. It means self-disrespect. It means choosing depth over distraction, meaning over noise. But that's not easy, because the world teaches you to feel guilty when you draw boundaries. You've been conditioned to think that no makes you cold, rude, ungrateful. So you keep saying yes, not out of kindness, but out of fear. Fear of being disliked, fear of missing out, fear of disappointing someone who never considered your peace in the first place. The Stoics understood this conflict well. Epictetus reminded his students, if you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. In other words, if you want to live differently, you must be willing to be misunderstood. To say no even when it confuses others. Because true strength isn't in pleasing everyone. It's in honoring your limits without apology. When you learn to do that, something shifts. You stop scattering your energy. You start owning your life, and in a world addicted to constant approval. That's one of the most radical acts of self-care there is. The next time someone asks for your time, pause before you answer. Take one breath. Notice the tension in your chest. That's your truth trying to speak. Ask yourself, if I say yes now, what will I be saying no to later? Maybe it's rest. Maybe it's focus. Maybe it's peace. Whatever it is, make sure the exchange is fair. Because saying no doesn't close doors, it opens space. And in that space, you rediscover your strength, your clarity, your life. That's what the Stoics meant by freedom, not escape, but ownership. The Stoics didn't say no out of anger. They said it out of awareness. And awareness is the first step. You can't protect your peace if you don't know who's stealing it. So start observing your days. Where does your time go? Who drains your energy the most? which yes leaves you feeling heavy instead of fulfilled. That's where your boundaries are being crossed. You don't need to fix it all at once. Just notice. Awareness always comes before change. The second step is courage. Because the moment you begin to say no, you'll feel resistance, not only from others, but from yourself. You'll hear the voice that says, "What will they think of me?" But remember Epictetus, if you want to improve, be willing to be thought foolish, to live freely. You must risk misunderstanding. That's the price of peace. The final step is discipline. It's easy to say no once, harder to keep saying it when pressure returns, but consistency is where boundaries become identity. Every time you refuse something that weakens you, you strengthen your character. That's how no turns from fear into power. Quiet, steady power. Imagine this. A friend invites you to an event you don't care about. Your instinct says no, but your mouth says yes. You tell yourself it's harmless, just one night. But the next day, you wake up tired, behind schedule, frustrated with yourself for betraying your own needs again. This is how most people lose themselves. Not through big mistakes, but through 1,000 small yeses. Each one seems minor, but together, they erase your clarity. Now imagine a different version of the same moment. Your friend asks, and this time you pause. You take one breath, feel that hesitation, and say calmly, "Thanks for thinking of me, but I'll pass this time." No excuses, no guilt, just a quiet truth. What happens next? Maybe they're surprised, maybe they tease you, but something inside you stands taller. You've chosen intention over impulse. You've reminded your mind that your time belongs to you. This is how Stoicism works in real life. Not in theory, but in tiny, decisive acts that protect your energy. Every time you say no with grace, you reclaim a piece of yourself that the world has been taking inch by inch, and over time, those inches become peace. Think about how many moments like that you've lived. The dinners you didn't want, the meetings you didn't need, the favors that left you empty. Each one felt small, but together, they build a quiet resentment inside you. That's the cost of every unguarded yes, not time, but self-respect. When you begin to say no, you start living differently. You notice space returning, space to think, to breathe, to rest without guilt. You find yourself calmer, sharper, more alive. Because every no to what drains you becomes a yes to what truly matters. That's how peace begins, not in escape, but in choice. Marcus Aurelius called it the inner citadel, a fortress inside your mind that no one can invade unless you open the gates. Every day, people try to enter it. Deadlines, gossip, demands, opinions. They don't mean harm, but if you let them in unchecked, they occupy your peace. That's why the Stoics practiced saying no, not as rebellion, but as defense, a quiet, deliberate defense of the only territory that truly belongs to you. Most people guard their homes better than their minds. They lock doors, close windows, install alarms, yet leave their attention unprotected, open to anyone who knocks. You can't live wisely that way, because your focus is the foundation of your freedom. Saying no isn't about closing yourself off from the world. It's about choosing what enters your world. It's the difference between being available and being consumed. Every time you decline a distraction, you reinforce your walls. Every time you choose solitude over noise, you strengthen the fortress over time. That fortress becomes unshakable, not cold, but calm. It's the kind of peace that doesn't depend on who calls, what breaks, or what goes wrong. That's the power of the inner citadel, the ability to walk through chaos and remain untorn inside. That citadel lives the version of you that the world can't touch. Calm, rational, grounded, But you can't hear that voice when everyone else is shouting over it. So you retreat, not to escape life, but to remember who you're without the noise. When you learn to honor that silence, everything changes. You stop reacting to every demand. You start responding with intention. You begin to understand that peace isn't something you find. It's something you build, brick by brick, decision by decision. And each no becomes another stone in the wall that protects your mind. Most people think self-love means saying yes to pleasure, comfort, or ease. But real self-love often sounds like the word no. No to chaos. No to manipulation. No to the constant pressure to be available to everyone but yourself. When you start saying no from love instead of anger, something inside you begins to heal. Because every time you honor your limits, you remind yourself that your energy matters, that your peace is not negotiable. That's not selfish, that's sacred. Seneca once wrote, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you." That means saying no to those who don't. No to negativity disguised as loyalty. No to obligations that steal your time but never feed your soul. You are not rejecting people, you're protecting your proof. It takes courage to disappoint others, but it takes greater courage to stop disappointing yourself. When you finally learn that lesson, you stop chasing validation and start choosing alignment. And that shift from approval to integrity is where peace begins. Because the truth is, every time you say yes to something unworthy of your heart, you say no to the life you could have lived. Choose wisely. Love yourself enough to protect your time, your focus, and your peace. That's what the Stoics meant by strength. At first, saying no feels heavy, like you're letting someone down. But the truth is, you're finally lifting yourself up. You're releasing the weight of living for everyone else. The guilt will fade. What replaces it is quiet confidence, the kind that doesn't need to explain or apologize. Because the people meant for your life will respect your boundaries. The rest were never truly with you. Each time you choose peace over people-pleasing, you build trust with yourself. And that trust becomes strength. The kind of strength that no praise, no approval, no applause can ever replace. Saying no isn't rejection. It's direction. It's how you guide your life back to what matters. Every no becomes a line drawn in the sand. Not to push people away, but to remind yourself where you stand. And over time, those lines form boundaries, and those boundaries form peace. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. To be that person, you must first stop scattering your soul across every demand that calls your name. Because energy is not infinite, attention is not free, peace is not passive, it's earned through intention. So the next time you feel pressured to say yes, remember this: you are not here to please everyone. You are here to live with purpose. And sometimes purpose sounds like silence, solitude, and the courage to walk your own path. Freedom isn't found in endless choices. It's found in chosen limits. That's the paradox the Stoics understood. When you master the art of saying no, you stop chasing control and start embodying it, and that mastery prepares you for the next lesson, one the Stoics considered essential: the discipline of discomfort. Because once you've learned to protect your peace, the next step is learning how to build your strength. And when you finally master this, you will notice something unexpected. Your life becomes quieter, not because the world stopped asking, but because you stopped answering every noise that doesn't deserve your voice. Silence begins to follow you like a shadow. Peace becomes your default, not your reward. That's the power of restraint. The quiet confidence that doesn't need to prove itself anymore. And from that stillness, strength begins to grow. Because the moment you no longer fear saying no, you become ready for the next lesson, to face discomfort willingly, to seek challenge before it seeks you. That's where real power begins. That's where we're heading next. Modern life has made us soft. We complain about slow Wi-Fi, a skipped meal, a late delivery. Yet our ancestors endured storms, hunger, and war with quiet strength. We've traded resilience for convenience, peace for comfort. And now we wonder why we feel weak. The Stoics warned us about this long ago. Seneca wrote, "Soft living makes the soul weak." They believed that without challenge, we decay. Without discomfort, we forget what we're capable of. That's why they practiced hardship deliberately, sleeping on the floor, fasting for a day, walking barefoot in the cold, not to suffer, but to prepare. They wanted to meet pain on their terms, before life forced it upon them, because the truth is simple. Pain is inevitable, suffering is optional, and the way to lessen suffering is to train your mind and body to face discomfort with grace, not fear. Every time you choose the harder path, the cold shower, the honest talk, the extra effort, you build something rare in the modern world. Mental armor, and that armor protects not your comfort, but your character. Discomfort doesn't destroy you, it defines you. Every challenge you accept willingly turns pain into progress. It reminds you that ease is pleasant, but struggle is sacred. Because comfort never taught anyone who they were, but discomfort always does. So, when life gets hard, don't rush to escape it. Breathe, face it, remind yourself, I've been here before, and I can stand through this again. That's what makes you unshakable. The Stoics called this practice premeditated struggle. They didn't wait for adversity to test them, they tested themselves. First. Because strength, like muscle, only grows through resistance. Seneca advised his friend Lucilius to live simply from time to time, to eat coarse bread, wear rough clothes, and ask, is this what I feared? That question is the heart of this habit. It teaches you that most of what you dread loses its power once you face it. Willingly. Try it in your own life. Skip the luxury you rely on. Walk instead of drive. Turn off the comfort you think you can't live without. Not forever, just enough to remind yourself that you're stronger than convenience. Because each time you endure discomfort by choice, you loosen the grip of fear. You stop running from hardship and start meeting it as an equal. That's not punishment. It's preparation. It's how the Stoics build courage that no storm could wash away. The goal isn't to live in pain. It's to stop feeling it. Voluntary discomfort is not about proving toughness. It's about remembering truth. It strips away illusions and brings you back to what's real. Your breath, your strength, your will. And when the unexpected happens, you're already trained. You don't collapse, you adapt. That's how ordinary people become extraordinary, not by avoiding storms, but by walking into them with calm eyes and a steady heart. That's Stoic courage in motion. You don't need to sleep on the floor or fast for days to practice discomfort. Today. Modern life already gives you countless chances. You just have to stop avoiding them. Discomfort is getting up early when your bed feels like gravity. It's staying silent instead of reacting in anger. It's choosing focus in a world built for distraction. It's the courage to say, I'll do what's right, even when no one's watching. Psychologists now call this stress inoculation. Small doses of controlled difficulty that strengthen your emotional immune system. The Stoics discovered this truth long before science gave it a name. They understood that the more you train yourself to handle small challenges, the calmer you become when real storms arrive. So instead of chasing comfort, chase capacity. Instead of avoiding pain, build immense. When you deliberately lean into discomfort, waking up early, lifting something heavy, admitting your mistakes, You remind your mind who's in charge that the goal isn't to seek pain, but to stop fearing it. Because every time you endure willingly, you reclaim control from fear itself. You realize that what once seemed unbearable was never the enemy. Your avoidance was, and when you stop running, you begin to grow. Most people don't fear pain itself. They fear the loss of control that comes with it. But once you choose the discomfort, the fear loses its bite. You stop feeling like life is happening to you and start realizing it's happening for you. As training, Epictetus said, "Difficulties show what men are." He meant that adversity is not an interruption of life. It is life, and the way you meet it defines who you become. So when the moment comes and comfort whispers, take the easy way. Remember this: comfort creates weakness, but challenge creates peace, and peace earned through struggle lasts far longer than any luxury. Modern psychology now calls it hormesis, the process of becoming stronger through small, controlled doses of stress. Exercise works this way. You tear muscle fibers so they can rebuild thicker, tougher, more capable. The mind isn't any different. Each time you face discomfort by choice, a cold shower, an honest apology, a day without distraction, you're training your emotional muscle to recover faster and break slower. The Stoics understood this centuries ago. They didn't just accept hardship. They invited it. Because when you meet pain willingly, it stops being your enemy. It becomes your teacher. Epictetus taught his students to treat difficulty like a sparring partner, something that sharpens, not shatters. He said, "The greater the difficulty, the more glory in overcoming it." Modern therapists echo the same truth. The mind grows resilient not through comfort, but through controlled challenge. So every small act of discomfort, saying no when you're afraid, waiting instead of reacting, doing one more rep when you want to quit, builds a quiet confidence. You stop fearing life's punches because you've already been training in the ring. Resilience isn't built in peace. It's built in resistance. And the more you practice it, the calmer you become. Not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. Resilience isn't a trait you're born with. It's a skill you earn through repetition. Just like a muscle, it grows when challenged and weakens when ignored. That's why people who avoid discomfort also avoid growth. They live cautiously, but never freely. The Stoics practiced what neuroscience now confirms, that exposure, not avoidance, rewires fear. Every time you confront difficulty and stay present through it, your brain learns, "I can survive this," and with every small victory, your mind stops bracing against life. It starts trusting itself again. That's the quiet confidence of the Stoic, unshaken. Because he's been here before. When the Stoics practiced hardship, it wasn't just about strength, it was about purification. They believed that every comfort, if left unchecked, becomes a chain. So they trained not to escape pain, but to stay free from dependency. Marcus Aurelius called this the art of inner fortification. Each small act of voluntary discomfort, rising before dawn, walking in the cold, eating simply, was a quiet rebellion against weakness. He wasn't trying to suffer. He was trying to stay awake in a world that dulls the soul with pleasure. Seneca wrote to Lucilius, "Set aside a certain number of days, during which you shall be content with the scantiest fare and with coarse clothing, saying to yourself the while, 'Is this the condition that I feared?'" He understood that luxury, once questioned, loses its grip, because fear fades when you face it voluntarily. In modern life, this discipline translates differently. It could mean turning off your phone for a weekend, sitting in silence instead of filling space with noise, facing solitude instead of avoiding it. It's choosing stillness when distraction feels safer. Every time you do this, something shifts inside you. The mind becomes quieter, the body steadier. And slowly, you begin to understand strength isn't found in avoiding discomfort. It's born in welcoming it. Voluntary discomfort isn't about punishing yourself. It's how you polish the soul until peace becomes your natural state, unforced, unshakable, and deeply alive. Look around you. Life has never been easier, yet people have never felt emptier. We can summon food, comfort, entertainment, even validation with a tap, and still, the soul feels restless. Why? Because comfort keeps the body alive but starves the spirit. When everything comes easily, nothing feels earned. And when nothing is earned, meaning fades. The Stoics understood this centuries ago, that growth and purpose can't survive without struggle. They saw hardship as sacred ground, the forge where character is shaped and gratitude is born. Think of your own life. When did you grow the most? It wasn't in moments of ease. It was when you were stretched, tested, and forced to rise. Discomfort doesn't diminish you. It introduces you to the version of yourself you forgot existed. In a culture obsessed with comfort, the act of choosing difficulty becomes revolutionary. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. Sit with your thoughts instead of escaping them. Speak the truth even when your voice shakes. Each act is a rebellion, not against the world, but against your own weakness. And something beautiful happens when you live this way. You start respecting yourself again. You stop chasing validation because you trust your effort. You rediscover that happiness isn't what you feel after ease. It's what you become through effort. That's the modern Stoic way, to seek not pleasure, but peace, and to know that peace is found on the far side of struggle. Make it a daily ritual. Choose one small difficulty and meet it with calm intention. Take a cold rinse, a slower meal, a harder set, a longer silence. Name the resistance, breathe through it, finish anyway. Then write one line about what you learned. Small victories compound into identity. Identity drives action. Action reshapes fate. That's how ordinary days make extraordinary people. When you choose discomfort, you're not chasing pain. You're chasing power. Not power over others, but mastery over yourself. Every deliberate hardship becomes a quiet declaration. I will not be ruled by fear. The Stoics never glorified suffering. They simply refused to be broken by it. They understood that peace isn't the absence of pain. It's the ability to remain centered within it. That's why Seneca fasted. Marcus reflected. Epictetus endured, not for punishment, but for liberation. The truth is, the more you expose yourself to discomfort, the freer you become. Because comfort is a cage built from good intentions. It feels safe, but it slowly steals your edge, and one day, you wake up realizing that you've built walls to protect yourself from life itself. Voluntary discomfort tears those walls down. It returns you to reality. Raw, vivid, alive. You feel hunger, effort, humility. You rediscover gratitude. That gratitude becomes strength. But strength alone isn't enough. Once you've faced the world, you must face yourself. That's the hardest battle, the one fought in silence. With a pen instead of a sword. It's where the Stoics turned next, to the page, to reflection, to truth. Because the warrior who endures pain without learning from it remains wounded. But the one who writes, who examines, questions, and understands, becomes whole. Here's how we'll begin the next chapter. Tomorrow morning, write 3 lines. One truth you're avoiding. One feeling you're willing to sit with. One action you'll take today. In the evening, write 3 more. What you did well, what you regret, what you learned. Keep it short. Keep it honest. No poetry. No performance, just facts and courage. Over days, patterns appear. Where you waste time, where you betray yourself, where you quietly win. That clarity turns discomfort into direction, and direction into a life you can respect. The hardest person to face isn't your enemy, it's yourself. Most people spend their whole lives running from their own reflection. They distract, scroll, talk, pretend, anything to avoid the silence that reveals the truth. But the Stoics believed that silence wasn't to be feared. It was the only space where transformation could begin, and their tool for that transformation was simple: writing. Marcus Aurelius didn't write meditations for an audience. He wrote it to survive himself. Each page was a mirror, raw, unfiltered, brutally honest. He questioned his motives, his anger, his failures. He used ink as a weapon, not against others, but against illusion. Modern life gives us every excuse not to look inward. We analyze others but forget to examine our own patterns. That's why journaling is revolutionary today. It forces honesty in a world built on performance. You don't need eloquence. You don't need time. You just need courage. The courage to sit down, confront the noise inside you, and name it. Because once you name it, it loses power. That's how self-knowledge begins. Not in books or podcasts, but in the quiet war between who you are and who you pretend to be. Writing, the Stoics knew, is how you make peace with both. To the Stoics, writing was more than reflection. It was resistance. Resistance against chaos, against confusion, against the fog of daily emotions that cloud judgment. They believed that when you write, you separate truth from noise. You force your thoughts to take form. And once they're on paper, they can no longer control you. Seneca used letters to teach himself courage. Epictetus used note-taking to transform philosophy into practice. Marcus Aurelius used his journal to tame the storm within. It saw writing not as confession, but as construction, the building of the self, brick by brick, line by line. Modern people underestimate this act. They think journaling is sentimental, something you do to feel better. But for the Stoics, it was discipline, a mental workout, a sharpening of the sword. You write to see clearly, not to sound clever. You write to reveal weakness, not to hide it. And over time, those pages become proof of your evolution. They show your anger softening, your pride humbling, your wisdom growing. You start recognizing the patterns that keep you trapped. You begin to hold yourself accountable, not through guilt, but through awareness. That's the true Stoic purpose of writing. Not to document life, but to direct it. Because once you can explain your thoughts, you can finally command them. The Stoic journal isn't a diary. It's a discipline. It's not about recording what happened. It's about questioning why it happened and how you responded. Each line is an examination, not an escape. Start simple. Each morning, write 3 questions. What's in my control today? What's outside it? How can I act with virtue regardless of the outcome? These questions anchor your mind before the chaos begins. At night, write 3 more. What did I do well? Where did I fall short? What can I improve tomorrow? This closes the loop, reflection that transforms experience into wisdom. Marcus Aurelius followed this rhythm every day of his life. He didn't write for beauty, he wrote for a balance. He knew that a wandering mind needs a daily homecoming, and writing was that home. Don't worry about grammar, length, or style. Your journal isn't for an audience, it's for your soul. What matters is honesty, brutal and filtered honesty. Write even when it hurts. Especially when it hurts. Because the page can hold what the mind cannot. And one day, you look back and realize you didn't just fill pages, you built a stronger version of yourself. One line at a time. Honesty hurts before it heals. That's why most people avoid it. They fear what they'll find when the noise fades, the insecurities, the regrets, the small betrayals of the self that pile up quietly over time. But the Stoics knew, You can't heal what you refuse to see. When you write honestly, you stop hiding behind words like fine or busy. You start naming things as they are. I'm angry, I'm jealous, I'm afraid. And the moment you do, the emotion loses its grip. The page becomes a sanctuary where you can confront your chaos without shame. Seneca once said, "The soul is dyed the color of its thoughts. To cleanse the soul, you must first look at the dye." Journaling with brutal honesty exposes the stains so you can wash them clean. Don't worry if what you write looks ugly. It's supposed to. Growth always looks messy before it becomes beautiful. Each admission, each raw truth is a small act of courage, because facing yourself is harder than facing any enemy. Over time, those truths begin to change you. You become lighter, calmer, freer, not because the pain disappears, but because it's finally seen, understood, and released. That's the healing power of honesty. It burns. Then it B-O-R-I-F-I-E-S. It strips away illusion until what remains is real. And what's real can finally be at peace. The Stoics never denied emotion. They mastered it. They knew anger, fear, and sadness were part of being human. What mattered was what came after. That's where journaling becomes a weapon. When you write before you react, you interrupt the storm. You give your mind space to think before your tongue decides for you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." Writing helps you change the estimate. It forces emotion into language, and once emotion becomes language, it becomes manageable. Next time you feel anger rising, don't send the message. Don't speak the words. Write them. Empty them onto the page. Let them lose their power. There, because a thought written is a thought contained. The Stoics used Incas armor. They faced their impulses in private, so they could act with virtue in public. That's not repression, it's refinement. It's the difference between reaction and response, chaos and control. Over time, this practice rewires the mind. You begin to pause naturally. Breathe before speaking. See before judging. And that pause, that single breath, is where your freedom lives. Because power isn't the absence of emotion. It's the ability to hold emotion without letting it hold you. The Stoics never wrote for the sake of writing. They wrote to live better. Every insight had to translate into action. Otherwise, it was vanity disguised as virtue. Marcus Aurelius filled his journals with reminders, not revelations. He wasn't trying to impress the world. He was trying to improve himself. He wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." That's the essence of Stoic journaling. Reflection followed by embodiment. So when you journal, don't stop at awareness. Turn every realization into a choice. If you write, "I was impatient today," ask, "How will I practice patience tomorrow?" If you write, "I avoided a hard truth," ask, "When will I face it?" The page is not your destination, it's your starting point. Each entry becomes a quiet promise to live what you've learned, and with repetition, those small promises compound into integrity, the alignment between what you think, say, and do. The Stoics didn't believe wisdom lived in books or speeches. They believed it lived in behavior. Writing simply reveals the gap between knowing and doing and invites you too close. When reflection becomes motion, knowledge becomes power. And that's how journaling transforms from ink into virtue, from thought into life. At its core, journaling isn't about paper, it's about presence. Each word you write pulls you back from distraction, back from illusion, back to what's real. You stop performing and start perceiving. You stop escaping and start existing. The Stoics saw this as daily cleansing, the washing of the soul. Just as the body gathers dust through the day, The mind gathers distortion. And the only way to clear it is to write, to observe, to understand. But awareness is only half the journey. Once you see yourself clearly, you must decide what to do with that truth. That's where the next Stoic habit begins, the discipline of negative visualization. Marcus Aurelius would imagine losing the things he loved, his family, his health, his empire, not out of pessimism, but gratitude. He understood that everything you cling to is borrowed, not owned. And that true peace doesn't come from holding tighter, but from appreciating deeper. So, when you finish writing, close the journal and look round. Everything you see, everyone you love, they are temporary gifts, and realizing that doesn't bring sadness. It brings clarity, because once you learn to face yourself without lies, you're ready to face life without fear. And that's where we turn next, to the art of letting go before life forces your hand. The Stoics practiced a strange ritual, imagining the loss of everything they loved, their family, their home, their health, even their own life. To most people, that sounds dark, almost cruel, but to them, it was liberation. They called it premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of adversity, not to summon pain, but to remove its power. Because what you prepare for, you can't be destroyed by. Marcus Aurelius wrote, begin each day by telling yourself, today I shall meet with interference, ingratitude, arrogance, disloyalty. He didn't say this to invite misery, but to disarm it. By rehearsing difficulty in the mind, he was building immunity in the soul. Modern psychology confirms this wisdom. Visualization, especially of hardship, reduces shock and builds resilience. When you imagine the worst with clarity, the real thing rarely breaks you. So each morning, the Stoics would briefly remind themselves, I could lose what I love, I could fail, I could fall ill, and rather than feeling despair, they felt gratitude, because those reminders made every moment, every breath, every touch more precious. To face loss before it finds you isn't pessimism. It's preparation. It's how you learn to love deeply without clinging, to appreciate fully without fear. We avoid thinking about loss because we fear it will make us sad. But denial doesn't protect us, it weakens us. The Stoics chose to look directly at impermanence, and in doing so, they found peace. Seneca wrote, let us prepare our minds as if we'd come to the end of life. Let us postpone nothing. He knew that death isn't the enemy of life. Procrastination is. Every time you delay gratitude, you steal from yourself. When you remember that everything can vanish, your health, your youth, the people beside you, something changes. Small annoyances fade, anger softens. You stop demanding perfection from the world and start appreciating presence instead. Try it now. Think of someone you love, then imagine waking tomorrow and realizing they're gone. It's painful, but it awakens something sacred. You start seeing their flaws as details, their habits as reminders that they're still here. That's the paradox of negative visualization. When you meditate on loss, love grows stronger, because you no longer take anything for granted. Every hello feels softer, every goodbye feels complete. The Stoics didn't dwell on death. They used it as fuel for a life. To remember that time is short isn't depressing. It's empowering. It turns ordinary days into something holy. You don't need to meditate in silence for hours to practice negative visualization. You just need awareness, small pauses scattered through your day. When you wake up, remember, one day you won't. When you see someone you love, remember, one day this moment will only live in memory. When you complain about work, remember, there are people praying for the chance to have a day like yours. This isn't about sadness. It's about sharpening gratitude, because appreciation isn't built by abundance. But by awareness, the Stoics used this technique to stay grounded in reality. They imagined loss, not to dwell on it, but to learn detachment. They knew that everything borrowed will one day be returned, and that includes our time, our youth, and even our breath. So practice it gently. When something annoys you, whisper, "This too will pass." When something beautiful moves you, whisper the same words. You'll find that both joy and pain become easier to hold, because you stop clinging to either. That's what makes this habit powerful. It dissolves entitlement and replaces it with reverence. You stop expecting life to last forever and start thanking it for existing at all. And when you live that way, with eyes open to impermanence, every moment feels like a gift you finally learn to unwrap slowly. Fear feeds on uncertainty. It grows in the spaces we refuse to look at. But when you walk straight toward those shadows, they dissolve. That's what the Stoics did. They didn't wait for a tragedy to test them. They rehearsed it. They imagined loss, failure, exile, even death, until these words lost their sting. Epictetus, born a slave, said, "I must die. But must I die groaning?" He understood that fear is optional once acceptance becomes instinct. Negative visualization is not morbid. It's medicine. It detoxes the mind from attachment, the root of anxiety, because most of what we fear isn't pain itself, but the idea of losing what we love. Once you've seen that idea clearly, it no longer rules you. Modern psychology calls this exposure therapy, the practice of facing fears in controlled doses until the brain learns calm instead of panic. The Stoics discovered this centuries earlier. By imagining hardship, they rehearsed composure. They taught their nervous system to stay steady while the mind faced chaos. This is how courage is built, not through denial, but through rehearsal. When you've already walked through loss in your mind, the real thing can't crush you. You feel the pain, yes, but you don't become it. That's Stoic immunity. Not a life without fear, but a mind that knows how to breathe through it. Letting go doesn't mean not caring. It means caring fully, without trying to control. The Stoics loved deeply, but lightly. They held people, possessions, and even power with open hands, because they knew that anything grasped too tightly eventually becomes a chain. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Receive without arrogance, let go without attachment." He understood that the secret to lasting peace is movement, allowing life to flow through you instead of trying to trap it. Modern life teaches the opposite. We cling to relationships, titles, routines, opinions, afraid that losing them means losing ourselves. But the Stoics remind us that identity isn't built from what you hold. It's revealed by what you can release. Try this. Think of one thing you're afraid to lose: a person, a job, a comfort. Now imagine letting it go peacefully. At first, you'll feel fear. Then, strangely, relief. Because deep down, you know you were never in control, only attached to the illusion of it. Letting go isn't giving up. It's growing up. It's realizing that every ending is also a beginning in disguise, that what leaves makes room for what's meant to stay. The Stoics mastered that art, to hold everything with gratitude, and to release everything with grace. Gratitude doesn't begin when life is easy. It begins when you realize nothing is guaranteed. The Stoics didn't wait for blessings to feel thankful. They trained themselves to see every moment as one. When you live with the awareness that everything could vanish, you stop rushing past life. You start noticing it. Marcus Aurelius began his mornings by reminding himself that he might not see another sunrise, and instead of fear, that thought filled him with tenderness. He saw each day not as a burden, but as a borrowed miracle. You can do the same. When you drink water, remember there are people who can't. When you hug someone, feel their warmth as if it were the last time. When you breathe, remember, one day, that breath will not return. This isn't morbid. It's clarity. It's how appreciation becomes instinct instead of obligation. Seneca wrote, "He who receives a benefit with gratitude repays the first installment on his debt." Gratitude repays life not with words, but with attention, because attention is the purest form of love. When you truly see how temporary everything is, nothing feels small anymore. The cup of coffee, the sound of rain, the smile of a friend, all sacred, all fleeting. And when you live with that awareness, you stop asking for more. You simply whisper, "Thank you." The purpose of imagining loss is not to suffer twice. It's to suffer less when it comes. It's to meet life on honest terms, without illusion, without panic. The Stoics didn't chase control. They sought composure. Because peace doesn't come from changing what happens. It comes from changing how you meet it. Through negative visualization, you learn the art of surrender. Not surrender as defeat, but surrender as understanding. You stop demanding that life be fair. You start appreciating that it simply is. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. That wasn't a warning. It was guidance. To live with urgency. To speak with kindness. To act with integrity. When you know everything can vanish, you stop wasting time on anger, gossip, or fear. You start valuing calm as the highest form of strength. And that realization prepares you for the next discipline, emotional control. Because once you've made peace with impermanence, emotions lose their chaos. You no longer drown in them. You navigate through them. You respond instead of react. You feel deeply but remain steady. That is the bridge between acceptance and mastery. You have learned to face loss. Now, it's time to face yourself. And that begins with the Stoic art of controlling emotion before it controls you. Emotions are like fire. Left unattended, they destroy. But when mastered, they illuminate. The Stoics never taught people to extinguish emotion, only to contain it, to guide it, to make it serve virtue instead of impulse. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That sentence is the backbone of Stoicism. It reminds us that the world cannot truly harm us. Only our reaction can. Every day, something will provoke you. A careless word, a delay, an injustice. The average person reacts immediately, handing control of their peace to others. The Stoic pauses. He takes one breath, examines the thought, and asks, "Is this within my control?" If not, he lets it pass. This pause is everything. It's the moment that separates wisdom from weakness, freedom from slavery. Because anger, envy, fear, they all depend on speed. They thrive when you don't think, but reflection starves them. To master your emotions is not to feel less. It's to feel wisely. To channel the fire instead of being consumed by it. And once you learn that, no insult, no chaos, no loss can pull you off balance again. The Stoics trained for emotional control the way warriors trained for battle. Daily, deliberately, with self-awareness as their weapon. They practiced not when life was calm, but when life was hard. Because control means nothing when nothing tests you. Epictetus told his students, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters." He knew emotion is instinct, but reaction is choice, and between those two lies freedom. When anger rises, don't fight it, observe it. When fear whispers, don't silence it, question it. When sadness lingers, don't drown in it, learn from it. Every feeling carries a message. The Stoic listens, then decides what to do with it. Try this the next time you're provoked. Imagine Marcus Aurelius watching you. Would he see composure or chaos? Would he see a mind ruled by impulse or guided by reason? That image alone can realign your focus. Emotional control doesn't mean detachment. It means dominance, not over others, but over yourself. Because a person who rules their emotions rules their world. And in a noisy, reactive age, that kind of composure is the rarest form of power. Emotional control isn't built in theory. It's built in moments. Moments when your patience is tested, your ego provoked, your peace threatened. The Stoics practiced calm not in temples, but in traffic, in arguments, in ordinary life. The first technique is the pause. When emotion rises, don't speak, don't act, breathe. A single breath creates space between feeling and reaction. That space is freedom. It's where wisdom lives. The second is the reframe. Ask yourself, what else could this mean? The insult might be insecurity. The delay might be protection. The loss might be redirection. By changing the story, you change the feeling. This isn't denial, it's perspective. And the third is the response. Once calm returns, choose your action based on virtue, not vengeance. Ask, what would courage do? What would kindness say? You'll find that most conflicts fade before you even need to fight them. Marcus Aurelius used this triad daily. Pause, reframe, respond. As a mental shield. It doesn't make you emotionless. It makes you intentional. Because the goal isn't to suppress what you feel, but to steer it. And in that steering, you reclaim your power, quietly, completely. Every single day. Every emotion begins as a thought, before anger becomes shouting. It starts as interpretation. I was disrespected, before fear becomes panic. It begins as assumption. Something bad will happen. The Stoics understood this chain reaction, and they broke it at its source. They taught that events are neutral. Meaning is optional. You can't control what happens, but you can control the story you tell about it. And that story decides how you feel. When someone insults you, pause and ask, is it the words that hurt me, or my belief that they're true? Most of our pain doesn't come from reality. It comes from interpretation. Epictetus said, men are disturbed not by things, but by the view which they take of them. That sentence, if practiced, can rewrite your emotional life. So start noticing your triggers. What kind of words ignite anger in you? What situations awaken fear? What moments make you shrink, defend, or attack? Each is a mirror showing where your ego still seeks validation. Mastery begins when you can watch the storm without becoming it. When the trigger fires, and instead of reacting, you simply observe. Oh, there you are. That awareness disarms emotion before it explodes. You can't always choose your feelings, but you can always choose your response. And that choice, calm, deliberate, conscious, is what separates reaction from mastery. Stoicism is often misunderstood as emotional coldness, a life without feeling. But the truth is the opposite. The Stoics didn't feel less. They felt more clearly. Their emotions were not erased, but refined. Marcus Aurelius loved his family deeply. Seneca cried when his friends died. Epictetus, once a slave, knew suffering intimately. Yet they all refused to be ruled by those emotions, because they understood. Pain is inevitable, but chaos is optional. Detachment, in the Stoic sense, doesn't mean indifference. It means inner freedom. It means feeling everything, without becoming enslaved by anything. Modern psychology calls this emotional regulation, the ability to experience emotion fully while staying balanced. You don't suppress sadness. You sit with it. You don't deny anger. You direct it. You don't avoid love. You love without possession. To be detached is not to float above life. It's to walk through it awake. To love, knowing you could lose. To hope, Knowing it may hurt to care, without collapsing under disappointment. That's emotional depth, not the absence of feeling, but the mastery of it. A calm heart is not an empty one. It's a heart that's seen the storm and learned how to stay still within it. Calm is not a gift. It's a discipline. It's built, moment by moment, breath by breath, in the space between trigger and reaction. No one is born unshakable. They become that way by choosing stillness when chaos invites panic. The Stoics practiced composure like soldiers trained for battle. They knew that when emotions surge, reason retreats. So they built routines that anchored them back to clarity. When anger rises, breathe. When fear appears, pause. When sorrow hits, observe. Each breath is a command. I am still in charge. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, if it is endurable, then endure it. Stop complaining. He used calm not as weakness, but as weapon, because nothing disarms conflict faster than quiet strength. Modern science echoes this wisdom. Slow breathing regulates the nervous system, turning anxiety into focus. Awareness rewires the mind. Repetition makes it instinct. You can start small. Before replying to that message, breathe once before arguing. Wait 5 seconds before assuming. Ask a question. These small pauses build emotional armor stronger than any defense. True calm doesn't come from the absence of storms. It comes from remembering, in every storm, that you are not the wind. You are the mountain. Emotional control is not about suppressing fire. It's about learning where to place it. The Stoics knew that emotion, when guided by reason, becomes fuel for greatness. But when left unchecked, it burns everything in its path. You've learned how to pause, how to reframe, how to respond, not react. That's not detachment. That's wisdom. It's the realization that your peace is too precious to hand over to every passing mood. Marcus Aurelius wrote, choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been. This is not denial. It's dominion. You reclaim the power to define your own inner weather. When others rage, you stay calm. When the world trembles, you remain grounded. When pain rives, you meet it with steady breath, because you've learned emotion is a visitor, not a ruler. And this is where emotional control leads, to stillness, not emptiness, but clarity, a state where thought is sharp, presence is full, and peace is constant. The Stoics call this the citadel within, the fortress of a mind unbroken by noise, and it's from that fortress that the next habit begins. The art of stillness and focus, where you no longer fight the world. You simply move through it with quiet precision. In a world that never stops moving, stillness is rebellion. Everything round you demands reaction. Notifications, opinions, noise, urgency. And yet, the Stoics taught that the rarest strength is the ability to be unmoved. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, but wrote in solitude at night. He faced wars, betrayal, sickness, yet he found calm in the quiet of his own breath. He realized that if he could master stillness, he could master life. Stillness isn't inactivity. It's intention. It's the power to pause before acting, to observe before judging, to breathe before deciding. It's where wisdom begins and chaos ends. The mind is like muddy water. The more you stir it, the less you can see. But when you let it settle, the reflection returns. That's what Stoic stillness is. Clarity regained through patience. You don't find peace by escaping the world. You find it by no longer letting the world dictate your pace. You slow down, listen deeper, and act from reason, not reaction. And when you learn to live that way, noise may surround you, but it will never own you. The greatest enemy of stillness today isn't noise, it's distraction. The world doesn't need to shout anymore. It just needs to keep you scrolling. Each swipe, each notification, is a small theft of presence. And over time, you forget how to be alone with your own thoughts. The Stoics warned of this centuries ago. They saw people wasting life on trivial talk, idle ambition, and the endless chase for approval. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." He would have recognized a world instantly, always busy, rarely alive. Modern life glorifies productivity, but confuses it with purpose. You can fill your days with motion and still go nowhere. True progress requires focus, not speed. So practice small moments of disconnection. Turn off the noise. Walk without headphones. Eat without screens. Let silence make you uncomfortable. Then let it teach you, because discomfort is the doorway to depth. Stillness reveals what distraction hides: your thoughts, your desires, your fears, and your potential. The Stoic doesn't run from silence. He listens to it, because in silence, the mind finally speaks truth, and the wise learn to listen before they act. Stillness isn't something you find, it's something you make room for. And the way you make room is by subtracting. Subtract noise, subtract excess, subtract the constant chase for what doesn't matter. The Stoics lived with purpose, not clutter. Seneca owned little, not because he despised wealth, but because he feared dependency. He knew that every unnecessary possession, every needless commitment, divides attention and drains peace. Simplicity is not about having less. It's about needing less. It's clarity disguised as minimalism. It allows your energy to gather instead of scatter. Start small. Clean your workspace. Finish one thing before beginning another. Say no to obligations that serve neither virtue nor a value. You'll be amazed how quiet the mind becomes when life stops demanding constant multitasking. Modern society sells chaos as ambition, but the Stoics knew a focused mind accomplishes more than a frantic one. Stillness isn't laziness, it's precision. It's the art of placing effort only where it counts. When you simplify your surroundings, your thoughts follow. When you declutter your schedule, your spirit expands. That's how you cultivate focus, not through more control, but through graceful reduction. Because peace isn't hidden in what you lack, it's buried beneath everything you don't need. Presence is the rarest currency in the modern world. Everyone is connected, but few are truly here. We exist in fragments, half in memory, half in anticipation, always scrolling, seldom living. The Stoics saw this danger long before smartphones. They wrote about people who live as if they were to live forever, forgetting that life is always slipping away, moment by moment. Marcus Aurelius urged himself daily, do every act of your life as though it were the last. That wasn't a call to rush. It was a call to awaken. To bring full attention to the task, the conversation, the breath right in front of you. Presence is discipline. It demands that you anchor your mind where your body already is, that you taste your food instead of scrolling while eating, that you listen to a friend without preparing your reply, that you breathe as if this inhale is the only one you'll ever get. Modern chaos thrives on distraction. Presence destroys it, because when you are fully here, fear loses its grip. It can only live in a mind that wanders. The Stoic learns to return, again and again, to this moment, until awareness becomes instinct, and every heartbeat becomes a prayer of gratitude. That's not philosophy, that's freedom. Most people don't realize how loud their minds have become. They wake up to noise, scroll through noise, fall asleep to noise, and then wonder why peace feels so far away. But the real noise isn't outside. It's inside. The endless inner dialogue. Why did he say that? What if I fail? What's next? The Stoics call this the untrained mind. always reacting, never resting. Mental stillness doesn't mean stopping thought. It means observing it, watching each idea come and go without chasing it. Marcus Aurelius practiced this daily. He wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." So he trained himself to see thoughts as clouds, temporary, drifting, powerless unless believed. You can start right now. Close your eyes, breathe once. Slowly notice the next thought that arrives, and instead of judging it, simply say, "There it is," then let it pass. This simple act weakens the grip of mental chatter. Over time, you'll notice spaces between thoughts, tiny moments of quiet that grow longer with practice. That's where clarity lives. That's where strength regenerates. Stillness isn't found in adding more wisdom, but in removing mental clutter until truth can finally be heard. Because when the mind grows quiet, the soul remembers what it's been trying to say all along. Silence isn't emptiness. It's power contained in silence. The Stoics found what words could never teach: understanding, endurance, clarity. Marcus Aurelius ruled armies and empires. Yet he wrote, "Nowhere you can go is more peaceful than your own soul." He understood that silence is not the absence of sound, but the presence of control. A mind steady enough to stay unmoved. In a world obsessed with speaking, silence becomes rare currency. People rush to respond, to explain, to prove. But the Stoic waits. He listens. He knows that silence reveals more than argument ever can. Try it in conflict. Pause before replying. In conversation. Listen longer than you speak. In solitude. Resist the urge to fill the air. At first, the quiet will feel uncomfortable, then healing, then empowering. Silence sharpens perception. It lets truth rise without distortion. It strengthens patience, deepens understanding, and turns impulsive reaction into deliberate choice. The strongest people rarely shout. They don't need to. Their calm unsettles, then steady. Their silence speaks louder than anger ever could. That is the Stoic way. To let silence carry the weight of wisdom, and to stand so still that even the storm grows quiet round you. Stillness is not retreat. It's readiness. It's the discipline of stepping back. So every step forward has purpose. Without stillness, action becomes noise. But with stillness, every movement becomes deliberate. Every word becomes weight. The Stoics practiced this balance. They didn't hide from the world. They entered it armed with clarity. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire. Seneca advised kings. Epictetus guided minds, all grounded in the same quiet strength. A calm spirit in a restless age. Stillness sharpens focus. Focus shapes direction, and direction gives meaning to everything you do. That's how the Stoic lives, moving slowly enough to choose wisely, strong enough to stay centered no matter the storm. When you master stillness, you start mistaking motion for progress. You no longer chase, you choose. You no longer react, you respond. You no longer wander, you walk with intent. And from that stillness rises purpose. A reason to act, to serve, to build, to live. That's where our journey turns next, to the Stoic art of purpose and direction. Because peace without purpose becomes stagnation. But when calm meets clarity, and clarity meets action, that's when a life transforms into a legacy. Without purpose, even peace becomes empty. You can master your emotions, control your thoughts, and live in stillness. But without direction, you drift. The Stoics believed that clarity of purpose was the anchor of a good life. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions." He understood that peace without purpose turns into stagnation, and motion without meaning turns into chaos. Every human being needs a why, not fame, not comfort, a reason, something that calls them forward when everything else feels heavy. Seneca said, "If one does not know to which port one is sailing, No wind is favorable. The same is true today. Distraction, comfort, and endless choice have made it easy to lose sight of what matters. But the Stoic doesn't wander aimlessly. He chooses his path, defines his principles, and walks with quiet conviction. Purpose isn't found, it's built. It begins when you decide what values you refuse to betray, and it grows when you align your actions with those values every single day. Peace gives you balance, purpose gives you direction. Together, they create strength, not the kind that shouts, but the kind that endures. The Stoics lived by principles, not moods. They knew that emotions change with the weather, but values, if chosen carefully, can guide you through any storm. Marcus Aurelius didn't ask, "What do I feel like doing?" He asked, "What is the right thing to do?" That question made him consistent when others were chaotic. It gave him stability in a world built on instability. Modern life praises authenticity. Follow your feelings, they say, but feelings are fickle. One day they lead you to discipline, the next to distraction. If you build your life on impulse, you'll always start strong and finish weak. The Stoic builds differently. He asks, "What principle will I honor today?" Courage, justice, self-control, gratitude. Each principle becomes a compass, not for others, but for himself. Seneca wrote, "Hold fast to this sound and wholesome rule of life, that you indulge the body only as far as is necessary for good health." He meant, let virtue lead, and the body will follow. Principles turn chaos into order, and order into peace. Because when your choices are guided by values, not feelings, you don't need motivation, you have direction. That's how purpose begins, not in emotion, but in integrity, not in what feels good, but in what is good. Your why isn't given, it's uncovered. It's buried beneath distraction, fear, and the expectations of others, and most people never find it because they never stop long enough to listen. The Stoics believed purpose begins with self-examination. Marcus Aurelius spent every night questioning his motives. Did I act with justice? Did I live according to reason? Did I honor what I value? Through reflection, he stripped away illusion until only truth remained. Your purpose won't shout. It will whisper softly. In the quiet moments when you're honest with yourself. It often hides inside. What breaks your heart? What angers you? Or what gives you peace? Follow those signals. They point to meaning. Ask yourself, what would I still do if no one praised me for it? What would I stand for if I lost everything else? Whose life becomes better because mine exists? Your why lives in those answers. It's not always grand. Sometimes it's small, quiet, and deeply personal. But once you see it clearly, your energy stops scattering. You stop chasing approval and start pursuing alignment. The Stoic doesn't wait for a life to hand him purpose. He builds it through intention, through virtue, through daily choice. Because knowing your why doesn't just give direction, it gives endurance. Purpose doesn't make life easier. It makes it worth it. The Stoics didn't fear obstacles. They depended on them. They saw every setback not as a wall, but as a mirror showing what must be strengthened. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." That's not just philosophy. It's survival. When life blocks your path, it's offering you a new one. The Stoic doesn't ask, "Why me?" He asks, "What now?" Seneca called adversity the training ground of the soul. He believed hardship isn't punishment, it's preparation. Every difficulty teaches resilience, patience, and focus, qualities that comfort will never give you. Modern minds often see purpose as straight lines and milestones, but life rarely honors maps. The Stoic trusts process over plan. He knows that failure often redirects him toward something truer than success ever could. Ask yourself, what pain shaped me into who I am? What loss forced me to grow? What closed door protected me from what I wasn't ready for? Perspective turns wounds into wisdom. Obstacles clarify purpose. They test it, refine it, and prove it's real. Because meaning that only survives good times isn't meaning. It's comfort, and comfort never built. Strength worth admiring. The Stoics believed a life lived only for oneself is a life. Have-lived. They saw purpose not as self-fulfillment, but as service. To people, to principle, to the world that shaped them. Marcus Aurelius, ruler of the known world, wrote daily reminders to stay humble. What brings no benefit to the hive brings none to the bee. He understood that the individual thrives only when connected to something greater. Modern life often preaches the opposite. Do what makes you happy, but happiness without contribution turns hollow. The Stoic doesn't chase pleasure. He builds meaning. And meaning always extends beyond the self. Purpose grows when you use your strength to lift others, when you offer calm to chaos, guidance to confusion, kindness to cruelty. You don't need fame or wealth for that, just intention, even small acts, listening fully, helping quietly, forgiving sincerely, ripple further than you'll ever see. Seneca said, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness." He meant that purpose doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It begins wherever you stand. A life guided by this truth becomes lighter. You stop asking, "What do I get?" and start asking, "What can I give?" And in that giving, paradoxically, you receive something far greater, a sense of belonging to the whole, and the quiet certainty that your days are not wasted. Purpose is easy to declare when life is kind. The real test begins when it isn't, when effort goes unseen. When progress slows. When the world grows silent and you start doubting your own path. That's when the Stoic breathes deep and takes another step. Because meaning doesn't vanish in darkness, it's proven. There, Marcus Aurelius faced betrayal, war, and loss. Yet he wrote, "If it is endurable, then endure it. Stop complaining." He wasn't preaching toughness, he was practicing it. The quiet kind that doesn't need applause. Seneca called perseverance the noblest form of courage. He said, "Sometimes even to live is an act of courage." The Stoics knew that staying faithful to your path when it's hardest is what forges character. Not the victories, but the endurance. When motivation fades, discipline takes the wheel. When excitement ends, duty remains, and through that duty, your purpose deepens. Ask yourself, would I still walk this road if no one noticed? Would I still serve this mission if it never paid me back? If the answer is yes, that's purpose, purified by hardship. Stay the course, not because it's easy, but because it's right. That's the courage the world rarely sees, and the one the Stoic lives by every day. Purpose gives you direction. Discipline keeps you moving. Without one, you drift. Without the other, you stall. The Stoics knew that vision without consistency is just daydreaming. Marcus Aurelius ruled not through inspiration, but through discipline, the quiet repetition of daily principles, practiced without needing praise. He wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." That line is the essence of purpose, not words, but work. Purpose is not a feeling. It's a commitment. It's waking up and showing up. Even when no one watches. It's doing the right thing. Not the easy thing. It's aligning your steps with your values again and again, until walking with integrity becomes second nature. The Stoic doesn't chase motivation. He builds momentum. Because momentum, once created, sustains itself. Each small act of discipline reinforces meaning. Each fulfilled duty strengthens resolve. And when life grows heavy, he remembers why he started, not to impress, but to contribute. Not to win, but to become worthy of the life he's been given. That's how purpose becomes power, and that's where the next habit begins. The Stoic discipline of daily consistency, the bridge between what you believe and what you build. The Stoics didn't rely on motivation, they relied on repetition. They understood that greatness isn't built in moments of inspiration, but in habits forged through discipline. Seneca said, "It is not that we have little time, but that we waste much of it." To him, time wasn't a resource, it was a responsibility. Discipline is the art of showing up again and again and again, even when it's dull, even when no one sees, even when you don't feel like it. Because the Stoic knows that consistency creates character, and character creates freedom. Motivation asks, "Do I feel like it?" Discipline answers, "It doesn't matter." Every repetition reinforces identity. Every action says, "This is who I am." Marcus Aurelius didn't wait for ideal conditions. He wrote, reflected, and acted daily, often while sick, grieving, or exhausted. That's what makes discipline sacred. It's devotion without applause. Most people quit when progress is invisible. The Stoic continues, trusting that invisible work builds visible strength. Repetition is the quiet proof of faith. Faith in effort, faith in process, faith in becoming. Because one day, all those small repetitions merge into something unbreakable. Not perfection, but permanence. The Stoics didn't trust emotion. They trusted systems. They knew feelings fluctuate, but structure sustains. That's why their lives ran on routines. Morning reflection, work with purpose. Evening review. It wasn't rigidity, it was rhythm. Marcus Aurelius started each morning reminding himself, "You will meet with ungrateful, arrogant, deceitful men today." He didn't say that to complain. He said it to prepare. Preparation creates calm. When the day unfolded, nothing surprised him. That's the essence of Stoic discipline. Anticipate, act. Review. Build a system that carries you when willpower fails. Because it will fail. No one wakes inspired every day. But systems don't depend on mood. They depend on choice. Modern psychology agrees. Habits built into structure outlast motivation. Routine is freedom disguised as repetition. It frees the mind to focus on what truly matters. Instead of constantly negotiating with laziness or doubt, your system can be simple. Wake early, reflect before reacting. Do one thing fully. Rest with gratitude. Repeat. Discipline isn't punishment. It's design. It's how you build a life that moves forward even when you don't feel strong. Because consistency, not intensity, shapes destiny. The Stoics lived by rhythm, not randomness. They began and ended each day with intention. To bookends that held the mind in place no matter how chaotic life became. In the morning, Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "When you wake up unwillingly, let this thought be present. I am rising to do the work of a human being." He understood that each sunrise is a summons, not to comfort, but to contribution. The morning ritual wasn't about motivation, it was about alignment. He would review his duties, expect difficulty, and decide to act with virtue regardless of mood. That's how you start strong, by preparing the mind before the world intrudes. No phone, no noise, just breath, reflection, readiness. In the evening, Seneca practiced review. What did I do well? Where did I fall short? What can I correct tomorrow? He treated each night like a mirror, polishing the day's actions with honesty instead of guilt. That simple habit transformed failure into feedback, and regret into growth. You can follow the same rhythm. Morning, gratitude, focus, purpose, night, reflection, forgiveness, renewal. To quiet moments, the sunrise and the dusk, become anchors of discipline, reminding you that peace is not found in perfection, but in returning daily to what matters most. Most people see discipline as restriction, but the Stoics saw it as liberation, because freedom without structure quickly becomes slavery to laziness, to distraction, to impulse. Seneca wrote, "No man is free who is a slave to his body." He wasn't talking about pleasure. He was talking about control. When your desires command you, you lose authority over your own life. But when you command yourself, you walk freely no matter the circumstance. Effort is the price of that freedom. Each time you choose focus over comfort, you pay into a life of independence. Discipline trains the body to obey reason, not craving. It builds strength in places where chaos once ruled. Modern minds often crave balance, but balance without effort is fantasy. True balance comes from structure, the steady rhythm of doing what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. That's how the Stoic earn peace, through order, not indulgence. When you rise early, resist temptation, or persist through fatigue, you are not losing freedom, you're gaining mastery. The person who can say no to their impulses can say yes to their purpose. That's the paradox of effort. The more you discipline yourself, the less the world can discipline you. And in that mastery, you find the quiet joy of a truly free mind. Consistency is not about perfection. It's about persistence. It's about showing up when you're tired, disappointed, or unseen, because progress, to the Stoic, is measured not in outcomes, but in effort repeated through adversity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do what you must, even if you tremble." He knew that emotion doesn't define success, endurance does. Anyone can act when inspired. Few can act when empty. That's why the Stoics trained not for passion, but for permanence. Consistency isn't glamorous. It's quiet, repetitive, often thankless, but it builds something unshakable. Reliability, and reliability, over time, becomes identity. Seneca said, "Greatness lies in being steady in small things." He meant that small disciplines, done daily, create large transformations. Skipping one day feels harmless. Skipping to becomes habit. The Stoic guards against this erosion by honoring every commitment to sacred, even the smallest. Some days, you'll feel strong. Others, you'll crawl through the motion. But even crawling counts, because every act of consistency strengthens the will. And the will is what carries you when talent fades. The Stoic doesn't ask for easy days. He asks for steady ones. And through steadiness, he becomes something greater than motivated. He becomes dependable. The Stoics didn't see routine as a cage. They saw it as a ceremony. Every repeated act was a chance to practice awareness, humility, and purpose. When done with intention, even the smallest task becomes sacred. Marcus Aurelius wrote each morning not for others, but to sharpen his own soul. It wasn't mere journaling, it was communion. He met himself on the page before meeting the world. That's how the Stoic lived. He rose not out of habit, but out of honor. He ate simply, not out of denial, but out of gratitude. He worked quietly, not out of duty, but out of devotion. Routine becomes ritual when you remember why you do it. When brushing your teeth becomes gratitude for health. When tidying your space becomes respect for order. When silence before sleep becomes reconciliation with the day. Modern life teaches us to chase novelty, to seek excitement in what's new. But the Stoic finds beauty in what repeats. He knows that repetition refines the spirit, and that greatness hides in constancy. When you treat routine as ritual, discipline stops feeling heavy. It feels holy. because every small act, done with awareness, becomes a form of prayer to the life you've chosen to live well. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you could become. Every repetition, every promise kept, builds quiet strength, the kind that no one sees but everyone feels. The Stoics didn't aim to be extraordinary. They aimed to be consistent, because consistency, over time, becomes excellence. Seneca wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. The friction is the routine, the trial is the repetition, and the polish, that's the self, shaped through effort." Most people wait for inspiration to begin. The Stoic begins, and inspiration follows. He understands that small disciplines done faithfully outlast great ambitions abandoned quickly. Through daily consistency, the Stoic builds resilience. He learns that missing perfection is fine. What matters is never quitting. Even failure, met with persistence, becomes training. Every day, every act, every breath is part of the same quiet mission, to master oneself. When life hits harder, discipline becomes armor. When fatigue sets in, it becomes endurance. When chaos reigns, it becomes rhythm. That's why the Stoic never fears difficulty. He's already trained for it. And that's where we turn next, to resilience and endurance, the final evolution of strength, where discipline hardens into unbreakable will, and the mind learns not just to survive, but to rise. Hardship is not a punishment, it's a proving ground. The Stoics didn't ask for easy lives. They asked for strong spirits, because they knew the universe tests every soul it plans to trust with wisdom. Marcus Aurelius ruled through war, loss, and betrayal. Yet his writings breathe calm. He wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." He saw difficulty not as an interruption, but as instruction. Seneca called adversity the material of virtue. He believed that without obstacles, courage would rust, patience would fade, and wisdom would never grow teeth. To the Stoics, suffering was a forge, the place where character is heated, hammered, and shaped. Modern life still misunderstands this. We equate comfort with success, and struggle with failure. But every strong person you admire, in silence or in history, was refined by hardship, not spared from it. Pain is the great equalizer. It strips away illusion and reveals who you are when nothing goes right. That's why the Stoic welcomes it, not with joy, but with readiness. He whispers, "I expected you. Let's begin." Because endurance isn't born when life is kind. It's born when life stops being kind. And you keep moving anyway. Pain is the most honest teacher you'll ever meet. It doesn't flatter. It doesn't lie. It simply reveals what's weak and dares you to strengthen it. The Stoics never wished for suffering, but they respected it. Marcus Aurelius saw pain as feedback from the universe, a reminder of limits, and an invitation to grow beyond them. He wrote, "If you are pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your judgment about it." In that sentence lies the difference between victimhood and resilience. Pain strips away illusions. It exposes what you've been avoiding. Your impatience, your pride, your dependency on comfort. The Stoic faces it head on, not to win, but to understand. He asks, "What is this pain trying to teach me?" Seneca said, "Fire tests gold. Adversity tests brave men. Pain burns away what is false. It leaves only what endures, and what remains after the fire. That's who you truly are." Modern culture teaches us to numb pain, to distract from it. But what we avoid stays buried. What we face becomes wisdom. The Stoic doesn't resist pain. He refines through it. Because once you learn from pain, it no longer controls you. It becomes your ally in the making of a stronger soul. There's a difference between surviving and enduring. Survival keeps you breathing. Endurance keeps you human. The Stoics understood this deeply. They didn't endure to prove toughness. They endured to preserve virtue. Because when the world turns cruel, dignity is the last freedom left. Epictetus was beaten, enslaved, humiliated. Yet he said calmly, "You may chain my leg, but not my will." That sentence defines Stoic endurance, the refusal to let suffering decide who you become. Pain can break the body, but only permission can break the spirit, and the Stoic never gives that permission. He accepts the hardship, but not the degradation. He bends, but does not bow. To endure with dignity means to suffer without bitterness, to lose without hatred, to persist without complaint. It is strength in silence, the kind that doesn't need witnesses to be real. Seneca wrote, "A wise man is content with his lot, whatever it be, without wishing for what he has not." Endurance, then, is not passive. It's peace in motion. It's choosing grace when anger feels easier, choosing composure when despair tempts surrender. Because dignity is not about pride. It's about remembering who you are, even when everything else tries to make you forget. Pressure doesn't create weakness, it reveals it. It shows you the cracks that comfort kept hidden. The Stoics welcomed pressure for that reason. They wanted to know their breaking point, so they could move it further. Marcus Aurelius ruled through plague and war, yet he wrote calmly about patience and perspective. He knew that panic never solves problems, it multiplies them. He practiced the discipline of detachment. Step back, see clearly, act rationally. That's the Stoic sequence, never reversed. When pressure rises, emotion wants the will. It shouts, "Do something now." Reason whispers, "Wait, observe." The Stoic sides with reason, not by denying fear, but by outlasting it. Modern neuroscience now confirms this. Slow breathing, reflection, and focus activate the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that chooses calm over chaos. The Stoics discovered this 2,000 years ago through philosophy, not science. When you face stress, remember their method. Pause, detach from judgment. Act with principle, not panic. Mental strength isn't about being unshaken. It's about returning to balance faster each time you're shaken. Pressure will always come. But if you train your mind to stay steady in the storm, you'll find that peace isn't the absence of pressure. It's control under it. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's the workshop where success is forged. The Stoics never feared falling. They feared refusing to rise. Marcus Aurelius lost battles, friends, and his own children. Yet he wrote, "What matters is not what happens to you, but how you react to it." He didn't hide from heartbreak. He built wisdom from it. Every loss became a lesson, every scar a form of knowledge. Seneca said, "A setback is a chance to exercise the soul." He meant that rebuilding isn't about reclaiming what was lost, but discovering who you've become through the loss. When everything collapses, the job, the relationship, the plan, you stand before a mirror that reflects only truth. You can suffer, or you can start again. The Stoic always chooses the second. Rebuilding is slow. It's humbling, but it's sacred, because every time you rise, you redefine strength. You learn that progress doesn't die with failure. It restarts with endurance. Modern culture glorifies success stories. Stoicism glorifies recovery stories. The quiet rebuilding done without witnesses, without applause. So when you fall, don't rush to erase the past. Use it as foundation. Because resilience isn't about returning to who you were. It's about becoming someone you never imagined you could be. The Stoics treated patience not as weakness, but as power mastered. Because only the strong can wait without losing faith. Marcus Aurelius wrote, No great thing is created suddenly. He reminded himself daily that growth, healing, and wisdom all demand time. In a world that worships speed, patience becomes rebellion. It's how you rise above the noise, not by moving faster, but by refusing to rush. Seneca called time the greatest test of the soul. He meant that endurance isn't just surviving hardship, it's staying steady when progress is invisible. When you plant seeds and must trust the soil. When the path feels endless, but you walk anyway. Patience transforms suffering into strength. It's not passive, it's persistence slowed to grace. Each day you wait with discipline, you deepen your character. Each moment you resist panic, you expand your control. Modern minds crave instant relief, instant answers, instant meaning. But life still moves at the pace of seasons, not screens. The Stoic aligns with that rhythm. He breathes slower, works steadier, and lets time refine what effort began. Patience doesn't delay success, it ensures it. Because anything that lasts must be built slowly, and anything built slowly will stand the longest. Resilience is not about being unbreakable. It's about becoming unbroken. Again and again, the Stoics never promised an easy life, they promised a meaningful one. And meaning, they knew, is born from struggle endured with purpose. Marcus Aurelius lost more than most men could bear, yet he ruled with compassion. Epictetus lived in chains, yet he taught freedom. Seneca was condemned to die, yet he faced death calmly, writing of courage as the blade approached. Each lived differently, but all shared one truth: the soul grows stronger when tested. Resilience is not loud. It doesn't boast or beg for a sympathy. It simply endures quietly, faithfully, with dignity intact. It's the art of whispering to yourself, "This will not break me," even when it already has. The Stoic doesn't chase comfort or victory. He seeks composure, the kind that remains when everything else is gone. And when the storm finally passes, he doesn't emerge untouched. He emerges transformed. He carries his scars not as shame, but as scripture, proof that he has lived, learned, and refused to yield. That is the end of the Stoic path, and the beginning of mastery. To suffer without surrender, to fall without forgetting who you are, and to rise each time, calmer, wiser, freer. Look back 10 habits ago. You began this journey uncertain, searching for a calm in a world that never stops shouting, and yet here you are, quieter, clearer, stronger. You learn self-awareness, the courage to look within and face the truth without disguise. You learn boundaries, the art of saying no when the world demands too much. You practiced voluntary discomfort, discovering that pain isn't punishment, it's preparation. Through honest reflection, you faced yourself on paper and found the person you were meant to become. Then came the deeper lessons. You imagined loss through negative visualization, and it taught you gratitude. You mastered emotional control, realizing that peace begins not when life stops hurting, but when you stop reacting. You found stillness and focus, learning to move slow so your mind could finally catch up to your soul, with purpose and direction. You stopped drifting and started walking toward meaning. With discipline and consistency, you built a rhythm, not of perfection, but of perseverance. And finally, through resilience and endurance, you learned the highest lesson of all, that strength isn't in what you conquer, but in what you survive without losing yourself. The Stoic path was never about becoming untouchable. It was about becoming unshaken. You didn't erase emotion. You mastered it. You didn't escape pain. You transcended it. You didn't find peace outside, you built it. Within, every habit taught you to strip away illusion until only essence remained. That's why the Stoics called this philosophy training for the soul. Because in every challenge, you've been refining something deeper. Not your image, but your integrity. Not your comfort, but your clarity. Now, you understand. You don't control the world. You don't need to. Because the moment you learn to control yourself, the world lost its power to shake you. So take a breath. You've come far. But remember, the journey isn't over. It never truly ends. It only changes shape. As you keep practicing, quietly, every day, to live, not perfectly, but stoically. If you made it here, you didn't just listen. You endured, you reflected, you grew. That already makes you rare. Because most people consume wisdom like entertainment. But you've practiced it like training. And that's what Stoicism truly is. Not a philosophy to admire, but a discipline to live. You've seen how every Stoic habit connects. Self-awareness gave you truth. Boundaries gave you control. Discomfort gave you strength. Reflection gave you honesty. Acceptance gave you peace. Emotional mastery gave you calm. Stillness gave you clarity. Purpose gave you direction. Discipline gave you structure. And resilience gave you freedom. That's the circle complete. From chaos to calm. From reaction to reason. From noise to silence. If any part of this journey changed how you see life, pause here, breathe once, and remember this. Peace is not found. It's built. In small daily choices. In the pause before anger. In the breath before words. In the quiet act of showing up again tomorrow. If Stoicism helps you see yourself more clearly, stay with this path. There's more to learn, more to unlearn, and more strength to discover. Subscribe, not for me, but for you. Because every week, we keep building together a calm mind, an unshakable heart, and a life that can't be broken by circumstance. And before you go, leave a reflection below. Which Stoic habit hit you the hardest? Which truth felt uncomfortably real? Share it, not to impress, but to remind others that wisdom still lives in the quiet corners of the internet. Thank you for walking this far. Now go, not with noise, but with peace. Not with haste, but with strength. And remember, you don't need to shout to be powerful. Sometimes the calmest voice is the one that changes everything.